Canada's in the midst of a full-blown housing crisis. Millions of people literally can't afford a place to live. So we talked to three of the country's preeminent experts to figure out how we got here and how we get out of it.
The numbers are really shocking here in Calgary specifically. I'll give you a couple. So the average rent between 2020 and 2023 increased by about 40%, or more than $600. The vacancy rate fell from about 6% to about 2% over that same time. The median price of a single detached home has gone up about 40%, or nearly $200,000. And at this point in time today, 1 in 5 households in Calgary cannot afford their current housing, and many are still really desperate in their search to find housing. So it's a very acute issue, but it's also a live issue.
I do think part of why we have a housing crisis in Canada is that we've really demonized an industry that we need. We need the development industry to build housing. I'm not sure who else people expect to build housing, because I will tell you something. Governments don't actually build housing. They don't pick up a hammer and hammer in the nail or hire the drywaller. Governments don't do that. And to be honest, we don't want them to do that. They can't, they struggle even just to contract with developers to build things and to project manage, let alone being the one actually having a construction team that they're responsible for. So developers are at the center of solving this problem. And it's funny because I hear so much about developer profits. And absolutely, some projects are incredibly profitable and some profits are not. And you can lose your shirt if there's a lot of projects right now coming on market in Toronto where the developers are losing their shirt because guess what happened? Housing prices have gone down by 20% in the past year. So that wasn't the market that they thought they were going to be selling into. So there's a lot of risk involved. If it was easy to develop housing, if there was just this inconceivable astronomical amount of profit at everyone's fingertips, why isn't everyone doing it? Because we know there's an insatiable amount of demand. Well, everyone isn't doing it because it's actually very difficult.
And then there's the mid-sized cities and the smaller cities. We're seeing a crisis in rural areas as well. And in northern regions. So, this is not just a big city or huge metropolis, Vancouver, Toronto versus everybody else. But, I think you said it, the flavor, the expectations of people around what they should get for housing, what they can get for the price, but also for the opportunities that each municipality presents. These are all things that people are considering when they want to set down roots. We're talking about setting down roots. We're talking about home ownership. I think we also need to talk about the rental space. Because if we're talking about the crisis, people who have mortgages pay themselves. And one day those payments will stop. If you're renting, the payments, you're paying someone else's mortgage. And, it is not, it's 1/3 of the population in Canada who rent, but they're the ones who are hurt the most and have the least amount of protections around housing precarity.